Hey there, can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, can you write it in the question box? Sorry. Looks like Lisa. Yes, perfect. Thank you, David. Hi, my name is Josh. I am our field sales manager for the West. It looks like Lisa was having some sound issues, so I'll just take over here. Not sure what happened, so just give me just a second. But thank you so much for joining today. Um, we will get going because we are a little late, a few minutes late. Um, so glad you can hear me. I'm just going to make sure it's all good still. Perfect. Yes, I don't know what happened with Lisa, but now you get me. So you're lucky. So what we're going to talk about today is how Trafalgar can bring you to the USA and Canada. We have some great experiences all over the country in North America, and so I'm so glad that we were invited by All Travel and Creative Vacations to kind of give you some of our best experiences. We're going to talk all about what we can do here in the USA because there's so much to discover. You can go and check out the beautiful national parks of the West Coast, go learn some amazing history in the South, and go see some of the biggest and best cities across the country. But we also have some amazing experiences in Canada as well, whether it's those national parks, that unique kind of French style culture in Canada, and some amazing food like poutine. So I'm not Lisa, but my name is Josh. I am from the great state of Wisconsin, and I currently live in Denver, Colorado. And I am our field sales manager for the West Coast. So I'm glad to be working and speaking with you. So what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about who Canada and the US is, right? What we do there. We do some amazing trips, like I said, but also to Alaska and Hawaii. And I want to let you know why I got a vacation with Trafalgar is the best way to really see and experience the USA and Canada. USA and Canada because it's the places we really know best. Our team lives, travels, and loves this country. So if you don't know anything about Trafalgar, we operate in all seven continents. We have operation teams in all those major areas of around the world. So that way our teams can really specialize in the destinations that we visit. And then how we can travel in style in the USA and Canada, and how you can travel with confidence. Um, Perfect. Just want to make sure we're seeing me still. Uh, so let's get on with this. So why a godification with Trafalgar and why in the USA and Canada, right? That's the first question you're probably asking yourself. But it really is the best way to see some of the culture and destinations in those places off the beaten path that you might not even know exist, right? There's so many little nooks and crannies of our country, and you're not going to be able to know it all. And that's why we're here for you. So choose a guided vacation. Not only are we going to take you around in these beautiful luxury motor coaches that are full of air conditioning and big window vistas, but we know the best way how to get places. We're not going to take you on just a boring old highway, but maybe we'll take you across a Highway 1 and you can see Big Sur in California. We want to make sure our vacations are enhanced. So not only some of the things we'll talk about a little bit later are some of our Be My Guest dinners, but we want to make sure that you're coming with us and you're stress free, right? You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about directions or getting gas. We want to make sure your vacation is enhanced so you can just have that great American road trip without any of the great American road trip stresses, right? Because sometimes that can be a little bit romanticized. We want you to meet some of the most memorable characters across the country as well, right? So when we are traveling in California, for instance, not only are we going to go and have an amazing dinner at a local's home that is fishing some really fresh fish in the morning right off the coast, but they're going to tell you about their history, right? Not only are we going to go and watch live music in let's say in Nashville, but what if we did it with Johnny Cash's family, right? Those are the things that we want to do. So we can meet these people that really make these destinations, whether it's a big city or a small town, come alive. And I'll show you how we do that a little bit later. And then obviously, health and well-being are our top priority, especially in the age of COVID. I could talk about this quite a while. But one of the cool things that we're doing on all of our experiences with Trafalgar is that we're adding a well-being director in addition to our trip manager. So not only our groups will be right-sized, um, the cleaning protocols will be adhered to really strictly, but we're going to have an additional person on the trip to make sure that all of your health and well-being is being taken care of, from making sure we have masks when you need them, you have sanitizer when you need it. If you have questions or you're concerned about something, there's going to be someone in addition to be able to work with you on that. And that's a really kind of cool new feature that we're adding post COVID. Some of the other things that we're doing to making sure that you can travel with confidence and have that peace of mind with your hygiene and social distancing is we're going to have that well-being director in addition to our trip director. We're going to have physical distancing, so we are going to make sure people are physically distanced on coach. We'll have some really different, unique on-road protocols, and those will just to be dependent on where we are, right? We're going to have these great new air filtration systems. So that way, when the clean air is going to be changed every 8 or 10 seconds, which is great. And then everyone will get those hygiene kits. So whether it's mask, sanitation, gloves, all that stuff, we're going to have that for you so you're ready to go. And that's for all of our TTC brands across the world. So we're really excited to be able to kind of change and pivot the way that our travel experiences are done. So like I said, we're going to have those well-being directors I just talked about. What is really wonderful is they're being trained specifically just on the hygiene, health, and safety of our guests. So whether you're in Utah exploring the national parks or the cities like New York, they're going to be able to tell you what we need to do to really adhere to some of the different laws going from state to state. But also, we want to make sure that travel matters. There's an amazing moose right there. Some of the things that Trafalgar does, we want to care for the planet. So not only are we going to take you to some of these amazing destinations, but our teams are doing volunteer work cleaning up litter on a regular basis. We're planting trees in places that have devastated with wildfires, right? So some of the wildfires in California, Colorado, a lot of places down in South America. What we do every time a guest books with us and they get an electronic document, we actually just go and plant trees. We work with a really wonderful organization so that way we can preserve the planet for long-term travel and long-term success, right? It's just one of the things that we do for our planet. We want to preserve the places and wildlife that we visit. So not only are we going to make sure that we are doing some really wonderful beach cleanups along the Australian or California coast, we also want to make sure that we're protecting places like in Africa, whether it's the rhino. So we have a really great organization that we work with in South Africa where we are protecting rhinos from poaching. Right, so there's some really kind of fascinating information where if you have just simple things, if you have your location on um, in South Africa, you post a picture on Instagram or Facebook of a rhino or an elephant, poachers can find that information and they can go to see where you were. So it's educating people when they're traveling, but it's also helping support financially some of the sanctuaries that we visit and travel to, and then helping people. We help people all across the country, whether it's the Native American population, where we're supporting some of their crafts or bringing them on trip or bringing them for a cool dinner experience, our guests to their home for a cool dinner experience. We're helping them be stable for the future. Or maybe it's a place like in Jordan where we've been able to create a women's shelter just for refugees that are coming in from Iraq or Iran, and helping them be educated, get some really wonderful crafts sold, and letting our travelers just go and meet and learn their stories, right? Because that's really, really important. I could do a whole hour on making travel matter, so we'll get going from there. But here's some of our experiences that we do in the U.S., right? We're going to be able to go off and maybe it's visiting a powwow in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Maybe it is doing a dinner experience with the Navajo or visiting some of their tribal lands. We want to support the people that really make our experiences and our country so wonderful. So we know the best places. So what are some of the best places in the USA and Canada? We want to make sure that when we're traveling to places like Memphis, you're going to be able to create those real connections, whether it's through the destination that you visit or with your fellow travelers, right? Um, in Hawaii, we go to a place called OO Farms. These are the owners of OO Farms, and it's a small organic little farm in the mountains of Hawaii, and everything that they grow there is for dinner. So we do a really neat dinner at this farm. We go and explore the land. We learn all about sustainability, and anything that is eaten at the farm can't be sourced more than 50 miles. So they're growing everything. They're working with their local partners to maybe get some different foods or ingredients that they can't grow on the farm. But you get to understand how sustainable farming works in a place like Hawaii and why it's so important for people to be a little bit more sustainable. We'll go to this beautiful, beautiful farm and learn all about sustainability. We'll go down to the Gunn Family Ranch where we get to go off and see these beautiful tabletop mesas. We'll go horseback riding. You'll be able to really live like that Western cowboy in a place that it might be unfamiliar to you, but you're there with a family who tries to make you feel like family. You get to learn their stories of growing up on the ranch, some of their trials and tribulations, and you just feel part of their family for a couple of days. And it's a really beautiful setting underneath the big sky. We'll go on dive into culture. So one of the great connections that we want to make is with our people, like I've said many times. And here we'll go down to Nashville. If you're interested at all with Johnny Cash, this is Johnny Cash's family. We'll go and we'll have a private music experience with the Cash family, and they just kind of tell what it's like, what it was like growing up with either Johnny Cash as a father, a grandfather, an uncle, and they kind of do some Johnny Cash covers and some other country tunes. But you really get to dive into that Nashville culture. This is a man, his name is Stephen Yellowhawk. We work with him out in South Dakota in the Black Hills for some really cool indigenous experiences where he comes out and he gets to show you some really cool indigenous dances and you get to try this indigenous bread. And he tells us about his dream stories and the history of his people. It's a really cool experience and super unique because if you know anything about some of the native tribes in our country is that they are very closed off. And so to be able to have Stephen come on to our coach and bring you into his community and his home, it's a really special experience. And so it's one of everyone's absolute most favorite experiences when they go through the Black Hills with us down in South Dakota. But you'll get to meet him and his entire family and tribe. It's kind of a really neat experience. You can tell by his garb, he really takes not only his indigenous culture full of pride, but you can see here there with his Harley. So he really also takes his Harley culture there too. So you'll learn all about that and how it's all intermingled as well. We'll also dive into culture. So maybe you're taking a trip down to Seattle. Well, we're going to take you to the Starbucks Roastery. It's a preserve roastery that is private, and it's how they come up with all their new Starbucks drinks and how they come up with their new roasts for their coffee. And it took us many years to try to be able to get into this experience. And so we're really excited to be able to offer an exclusive Starbucks experience right in the home of Starbucks in Seattle. And not only are you going to learn about coffee and the roasting, you get to do a cupping experience. If you've never done a cupping experience with coffee, it's awesome. You might be like, oh, coffee just all tastes the same. But as you start learning a little bit about the roast methods and the beans that they use, you learn it's all very like wine. And so you'll just try a little cup of coffee here for maybe a dark roast or a medium roast or a light roast. And you're going to try to find all those cool flavors from an absolute expert right in the home Starbucks, which is amazing. But this is an exclusive experience that we really want you to dive into that culture and connect with those locals. It's something that they love so much. We also want you to connect with the places that you stay. So we're going to have these amazing hotels and accommodations across the country we call stays with stories. And what they are is we're always going to use those 4 or 5 star hotels, but when it's a stays with stories experience, that means that there's a lot of history, culture um, dipped into the walls and curtains of these places that we're going to stay. So here you see the Omni Parker. This is the and oldest continuously run hotel in America. It's located in Boston, and this is where all the dignitaries from all around the world stay. JFK proposed to Jackie here. Um, Most diplomats come when they come to Boston. This is where they stay. So we're really excited to be able to have you stay there with us. You'll find all kinds of cool stories. You got to check out the Omni Parker when you go to Boston. So we're glad we can bring you. This is the inside of the Omni Parker. So it's one of those classical, old, unique places that just have full of stories and full of excitement that you can go off and learn all about. This is another cool stage of stories. It's an Olympic National Park. Um, what's great about this place is this is where Teddy Roosevelt went and decided that he was going to announce that there was going to be a national park system. So we would walk around the Olympic National Forest, decide this is what we need to do with our country is build these national parks for everyone to come and use. And so this is one of the hotels that he would stay at. And obviously it's a little bit nicer now, but you get to learn all about the national park system when you come and visit us here. And then we're going to bring our local specialists, right? We're going to have some amazing local specialists because not only are you going to have the travel director, a driver, and a well-being director, but when we're in places like the Black Hills, we're going to have our local specialists come on and tell us all about his indigenous tribe. Or when we're in, San Francisco, instead of just walking around, we're going to bring and showing you the sites. We're going to bring you a local specialist that's a renowned photographer, and she'll be able to either teach you how to use your phone to capture some amazing images, or maybe we'll go down to LA and we'll have a local specialist come on that's a food critic, and he'll be able to give you all the best places to eat. You'll do a little walking tour of food around so you can really experience the destination that you're traveling to. And then there's going to be many hidden gems throughout your time. So you'll learn a lot about what you'll do on trip through the itinerary online and with your travel agent. But there's so many great hidden gems that are so special to our travel directors that they want to share with you. So it might be beignets in New Orleans. They'll take you to the best place to get the beignets. Or it might be a cool little restaurant when you're in Aspen, Colorado. They might take you to a really neat little local restaurant that you might not have ever heard of before, right? And these are those special things that really make it cool. One of my favorite hidden gems was that there is a travel director that is in Utah. Her family is from Utah and around the Salt Lake area. And one day she needed to go pick up something from her grandparents, and she just wasn't able to do it with her schedule. So she asked her group, "Hey, do you guys care if we go to my grandfather's just for a second? It's a little off the way, but it'll just take an extra 10 minutes." And everyone said, "Yeah." And so she called her grandfather and said, "Hey, we'll be there in about a half hour if that's okay." And she can pick up whatever it was she needed to pick up. And her grandfather said, "No, not a problem. I'll see you guys here." And so he went and snuck off and got juices and cookies and just invited everyone into his home. And they just told stories about the travel director and their family and just kind of living in Salt Lake. And those are those hidden gems. Not every travel director could bring everyone to her grandfather's house. So there are those special little things that we do. And that's kind of how we build our real connections. We also want you to just have a really easy time traveling. We don't want you to stress. We don't want you to have to worry about directions or traffic or gas or where to eat or what to do or see because you might not know every destination on the itinerary. And that's what we're here for. We want to make sure it's easy. We're going to have those world-class moment makers. So there's Drew in the middle. He's right out of New Orleans, so he can give you some great places to visit while you're in Louisiana. But he wants to make sure that every little thing is done for you, so you can just come on trip, relax, and not have to think about anything else except for the amazing experience that you're going to have. These people, they're they're knowledgeable in the destinations they're visiting. They're excited to have you, and they want to make sure that they can share their favorite things with you. And like I said before, we'll have an additional wellness director on every trip too, just so that way you can feel safe with your well-being and your hygiene protocols as well. We're going to visit all of the iconic sites and attractions. So we're going to go and visit the national parks. Like you can see here, this is a shot of Yosemite. We're going to visit some of the best restaurants or some of the best sites to see. And they might be different, a little bit different now. We might have to do things a little bit different where maybe you have to walk in with small groups or you have to wear your mask for a portion of the time. But we're going to go and see these iconic sites. So you don't have to worry about it. The tickets are included. We'll get those VIP access so we don't have to ever wait in line, so you can save time going on to the next place or just relaxing in the parks and experiencing the nature that's there for you. We're going to make sure there's a lot of time to yourself as well. So that way, when you are on trip, it might be relaxing by the pool. Maybe it's getting a great little sandwich from a cafe or a neat little coffee from a local coffee spot, or just walking and strolling around and enjoying the destination that you're visiting. Right, we'll be able to do that for you. Or you can add on to your trip when you're there. So maybe you want to go off and you want to do a helicopter ride in the Grand Canyon, or you want to go off to Niagara Falls and do some different trip enhancements. Not everybody is interested in doing a flyover of Niagara, but the people that are, they can opt into that once they're on trip. So there's some really cool trip enhancements that we'll have for you. Maybe it's visiting Sun Studios there in Memphis. It's where many of the famous blues albums were recorded. So you can go off and get this amazing history tour and learn all about some of the cool music that you've probably listened to in your past. And it's your vacation and your choice. So when we do things like our New York Explorer, for instance, you're going to have the option to choose if you want to go here to the Vessel or the Honeycomb in New York and kind of explore this. It's right off the High Line. So if you know the High Canal park system that they added, that's on an old elevated train track. It's this beautiful park. You can go walk, and then we'll bring you down here, which is the new this new kind of cool art installation that you can see all the steps. It looks like a honeycomb that kind of grows with the city, and there's some amazing views that you can go off and check out. So you can choose to do that. You can choose to go to Broadway. There's some really cool options that you'll have with your experience there. We'll have our memorable meals. So not only will we have some cool be my guest experiences. We're going to bring you to local homes, but we're going to bring you to have meals, excuse me, that are fantastic because they're going to all be local. They're going to be based off the destination that you're in, so you can really feel connected to the place that you're going. Right. So we'll include every breakfast for you. We'll include about half the dinners. And then the other half is for you to go off and explore. So maybe you find a really cool steakhouse that you wanted to go find, or maybe you wanted to go for sushi in LA, or who knows. You can really customize your experience based off your needs and your wants when you travel. And we've taken care of everything. So all the little things from, like I've said earlier, directions, parking, we've done it for you. So you just come and relax. We even take your luggage off the coach. We'll wash it for you, or we'll sanitize it for you rather, bring it to your room so it's waiting for you. And the next day, or the 2 days later, or 3 days later, we'll pick it up from your room, bring it to the coach. So you don't even have to worry about bringing your bags anywhere. We'll have that done for you, which is awesome. So then we want you to make sure you have real joy, right? We want to make sure that you're on trip and you're just having the best time of your life, right? So whether it's reconnecting with family, we have some amazing family trip experiences. You can do that just by relaxing on the beaches in Hawaii, or maybe it's seeing a cool show in New York. You can build new friendships. So maybe some of the friendships that you met on trip, you'll have for life, and you'll be able to have these new travel buddies traveling all over the world just because you met on a Trafalgar and you shared into those intimate moments. So where do we go? So I've kind of showed some things that we do on trip, but now I want to show you our trip experiences. So we have different ways to explore all over the world and in the US. Whether it's a country explorer, so you want to visit the entire country, you want to go from LA to Miami in one massive trip, we can do that for you. Maybe it's a cruise or rail, so maybe you want to cruise up to Alaska and add on some land portion. We can do that with you as well. We can do regional explorers or discovery trips, so it's kind of visiting um, larger areas. So maybe it's national parks in the west, or maybe it's the entire kind of south. We can visit that for you. We can do just a city explorer, so you just want to see New York and you want to do it on your own, but you're not really sure what to do. Our city explorers are awesome. We have some fantastic family experiences. So whether that is visiting the East Coast and learning kind of some of the history of the East, or visiting some of the great national parks with your family, we can do that for you. We have our at leisure trips. So if you're someone that wants to take it easy, you want to relax, our at leisure trips are fantastic because it's full of free time. There's 2 or 3 full days in each destination. Or maybe you're somebody that's active and you want to go and hike in Moab or hike in Zion. We have a new amazing hiking trip just in Utah that you can really get into nature and experience some of the cool national parks by foot. Or you want to visit one state. You want to just see California. You want to see just where I live, Colorado, for a week or two. We can do some really cool experiences where you're just exploring the state. So these are some of our cool new trips. Southwest Native Trails. This is the trip that I most want to do. It's an 11-day trip. It starts and ends in New Mexico. And what's neat about this is we're going to go visit all those indigenous tribes around the kind of 4 corners of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. Some of the places that we're going to visit, we will go and visit some of the code talker sites, right? So from the World War II, we'll go off and visit some of the code talkers. We're gonna go to a really cool canyon called Chaco Canyon, where most people go off and they see it from the top, and we will. We'll take your photo. It'll be beautiful, but most people don't know that there's this really neat indigenous community that's living at the bottom of the canyon with really no access to electricity or Wi-Fi or whatever. They're literally living off the grid. We'll go spend a day with them and learn what it's like to live kind of off the grid in this beautiful canyon. I think this is the most exciting trip, in my opinion, that we have that's new for next year. So hopefully you can take a look at that one. We have Best of the Canyonlands. So if you're somebody that wants to go off and visit some national parks, this is a great trip that starts in Colorado and in Denver and ends in Vegas. And you go off and visit some of the amazing canyonlands of Moab Canyonlands National Park. You'll go off and check out Arizona and then end in Vegas as well. I think this is a cool new trip as well. It's 7 days, so it's great for those week travelers, right? We've got 5 epic national parks, so maybe you want to spend a little bit more time exploring a few more national parks. You can visit the Mighty Five, or the Big Five rather, all the way from Montana all the way down through Arizona. So you'll visit all the Big Five parks there, from Yellowstone to the Tetons. You'll go off and visit, stop in Salt Lake, and then eventually make your way down to Bryce and the Grand Canyon. So this is a really cool trip for people that love the national park. And what I like about this is that you don't have to buy a parks pass. You don't have to worry about where you're going to stay, because we'll stay either right inside the park or just at the right outside it, right? So either we're going to be inside the park at some of the cool lodges or cabins that they have, or we'll stay right outside. It just depends on the park that we're visiting, because they're all a little bit different with different rules. We have Taste and Sounds of the South, and this is a 10-day trip, which is amazing because it starts in Nashville, ends in New Orleans, and you'll be able to go off and really it's all about the food of the South and the music of the South. So you'll learn about some of the great Creole culture in New Orleans. You'll learn about the blues in Memphis. So this is a cool cultural experience right in the South. It's a little bit more different and unique than something that you might have seen or explored in the past if you've been to Nashville or New Orleans. It gives it a really unique spin, the way that we go off and travel for those 10 days. We have Utah's Mighty Five National Park trip. This is great. It's a 10-day trip. This is for those hikers. So we talked about our active travel style. This is the trip. You'll go off and visit all the national and a couple state parks, mostly all in Utah. It starts in Grand Junction, Colorado, ends in Vegas. And what's great about this is for hikers of all skill level. right? So every day we'll go off and we'll go visit a park where they'll say the travel director will give you a few different options. You want easy, medium, hard. Do you want a mile hike? Do you want a 10-mile hike? They'll be able to find you some really cool options. We'll go off and visit some of the indigenous tribes here, and we'll go and visit um, Arches. We'll go and visit Canyonlands, Bryce, Capitol Reef. You get to do some of the cool slot canyons down in Utah with an indigenous guide. So it's a really unique trip, and I'm really excited. So if you are active, or if you have friends or family that are active, this is the perfect trip for them. We have our America's Great Desert National Park as well. It's a 10-day trip. This is probably a trip I'm second most excited about in our portfolio in the U.S. It goes from Vegas in Nevada, kind of goes to the desert. So it's really great for the winter time, right? Because the deserts aren't so hot, so you can go off and visit Joshua Tree. And then we're going to go to a place called Yuma. And it's kind of on the border of Arizona and California. And we're going to do a Be My Guest dinner, which is where we bring you to a unique location in that destination. And in Yuma, they actually have the world's largest date farm, right? So you'll have this really cool date farm uh, dinner, but it's inside the grove, the date grove, and you're doing it under the stars. And you're gonna have date wine and date appetizers and entrees, and it's a really unique experience that you probably wouldn't just find yourself at if you're traveling on your own. So we're really excited to be able to offer this. Be my guest. So definitely check this out if you're looking for something to do in our kind of winter time, because you can go off and explore these amazing deserts without that terrible heat, right? So that's kind of a cool trip as well. We have Welcome to Colorado. It's a 10-day experience. Oops, 10-day experience. I live here in Denver. It's round trip Denver, and I would do this in a heartbeat. It visits Aspen. It visits Durango. It visits the Sand Dunes National Park, which you feel like you're in the middle of the Sahara with these beautiful Rocky Mountains around you. We're going to go off and visit Boulder and Rocky Mountain National Park. We'll do the train ride down in Silverton. This is a fantastic experience if you want to really see the mountain life here in America. You want to go off and visit, see some amazing wildlife, whether it's the moose or the billy goats that are on top of the mountains. This is a amazing trip. We'll do a Be My Guest dinner in the Palisade, which is kind of Colorado's Napa Valley, where there's amazing peaches and wineries and all those things. And we'll do another really cool Be My Guest at this little river at this winery, and all around you are these flat top desert mountains. So it's a really unique landscape with some amazing kind of produce involved as well. So take a peek at this one. It's new for us. Last year, it's been fantastic. We have our Western Frontier, so another really great experience. If you want to kind of see some more indigenous cultures, you can either start in Denver, or excuse me, you can end in Denver or Rapid City, South Dakota. But we'll go off and visit some amazing national parks, get those indigenous feels. You really get to see Big Sky Country the way it was meant to be, which is cool. We have our magnificent Southwest, so you can see a trend. We love the Southwest. There's just so much to do, so much to see. It just depends on how much time you have. So we've seen a 7-day trip. Now we're up to a 13-day trip where you're going to see um, the Grand Canyon. You'll get Santa Fe, which is one of my favorite little resort cities where you can go off and spa and relax in Santa Fe. We'll go off to some of the national parks in Utah, go down throughout Arizona, and hopefully you get to see a couple road runners on your way. But this is a really neat trip. It just really depends on how long you have, right? Because someone might want to do a 7-day trip. Somebody might want something for 2 weeks. And then we have Hawaii Explorer. So we have a few different Hawaii trips. It just depends again on your length of stay. But you'll be able to do an island hopper with all the internal flights are going to be included. All the accommodation is beachside. So you'll be right on the beach. You get to choose if you want beach view or city view. Your options are endless. We'll go to OO Farms where you get to learn all about sustainable farming practices. We'll go off and see some of the national parks, whether it is volcanoes. We'll go off into the Dole Farm. So if you want to go off to Hawaii, you want to see the culture of Hawaii, and you want to just see more than maybe what some of the resorts just show you. come with us to Hawaii because this is our top selling trip. Across the country, and we do a really wonderful job in Hawaii. So please, please, please come to Hawaii with us if you're looking to do that for sure. And then we have Canada's Northern Lights. So if you want to go off and see the Northern Lights, you can go to Canada and we can bring you. So this is new this year. It's 8 days and it's a really great add-on as well. If you're already in Canada doing something else, come explore the big skies of Canada and see these amazing Northern Lights. We have our iconic Rockies and Western Canada trip. So this is great if you want to go off and see Banff and you want to see Jasper. You want to go and visit Calgary, but you also want to see Vancouver. We can kind of do it all, right? And this trip is for you. You can see maybe in the on the page, you kind of see 4.9. It's a little blurry. It's just the way that works out. But that's our FIFO score. And so what happens is that once someone comes back from a trip, they actually rate us, and we're not allowed to touch it. We're not allowed to edit it. We it just automatically goes onto our website from our guests. And you can see you might have seen a few others, but they're all 4.5s or above. It's really great. This is 4.9. So people absolutely love their experience with us in Canada. You can add a cruise. You can go kind of cruise up the British Columbia coast with us. You can add on the Rocky Mountaineer experience. So it's a really great trip to be able to edit to your preferences and how much time you want to be away and what you'd like to see. And so we have some limited edition trips as well. These are built specifically for our current COVID experience. They will start in December. And we have the San Diego, Palm Springs, and Orange County beaches trip, or we have America's Amazing Canyon Country. So these are limited edition. We're really excited about them. They're going to be small group, so no more than I think 26 on any of these trips here. Again, with the well-being director and everything that we've talked about before. So this is our amazing Canyon Country. It's 8 days. It does Vegas, Bryce, Moab, Monument Valley, and the Grand Canyon. It's a really fantastic experience if you want to go off and visit all these beautiful national parks. We'll go off and learn stories and some of the dream stories from the Navajo. You'll get to see Grand Canyon, and then we'll take you on kind of a photography tour in Moab, where they'll be able to teach you. Our local specialists will teach how to take amazing pictures of arches or maybe some of the canyons in Moab with your phone, with your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever kind of phone you have. So you don't have to feel like you have to have a DSLR. And it's just a kind of a cool couple hours in learning some of the tricks and tricks, whether it's from lighting or positioning a beautiful arch or something, right? They'll be able to just teach you some of those tricks along the way. And then we have our San Diego, Palm Spring, and Orange County beaches trip. And this is another amazing trip. It's 7 days. It visits all those places, like I said, including Joshua Tree, which is amazing. So you get to kind of do an architecture tour of Palm Springs with a local architect. You get to go off and explore Joshua Tree, which is one of my favorite national parks. And you learn a little bit about California's first mission as well out in San Diego. So there's a lot of history. It's a cool trip because it's a mix of history, but also these beautiful national parks along the way, and as well as the beach life. So hopefully you can travel with confidence with all travel creative vacations in Trafalgar. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Trafalgar, just to give you an idea of who we are, we travel all 7 continents. We've been around for over 74 years. We've won some of the most prestigious awards in the travel industry. We've sent millions of guests around the world. So we're really excited for you to travel with us in the United States and Canada, whether it's in the winter of this upcoming year or maybe next summer. Book your trip. So I talked about FIFO. On average, globally, we have a 4.6 star rating, and that's fantastic. It's one of the highest in the industry. We have thousands of reviews. So if you find a trip with your agent and you're not sure if that's the trip for you, check out some of the reviews and see what real people have to say at real time. And I think that's really going to give you an indication of what our travel experience is, right? Here's a guest review. we have a great value right now. So we have a 99 risk-free dollar deposit um, with unlimited changes, right? So you could put down a deposit for $99. Typically, it's 200. And let's say you put a trip down for January, and you're like, I don't know if that's the best time for me. You can go ahead and change it from January to next January, right? So that way you can feel confident, and the team at All Travel and Creative Vacations is going to be able to do that for you. They'll be able to help and assist you. This is going through September 15th, so you do have some time, but it's always great to get your bookings in as soon as you can and think about put something on the books and just get excited, right? Just get excited for when we can travel because we will be able to shortly, and it's going to be fantastic when we do. So contact your experts. So if you have a travel agent at All Travel or Creative Vacations, be sure to contact them. They'll be able to help you get everything taken care of, right? So whether it's finding a trip in the U.S. or maybe you want to find something unique in Europe or Australia or somewhere else in the future, they'll be able to do that with you. We're going to send a post-event survey, so you should get that in your email. It's just going to ask you where are you looking to travel next, and who your travel agent is. So that way we can just connect you if you haven't connected yet. And if you don't have one, that's okay. We'll get one for you, whether it's at All Travel or Creative Vacations. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the question box, and I'll be able to answer them. Otherwise, you are free to go off and explore your Tuesday. I hope you do something wonderful this week. But I'll just wait to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending, and I hope you learned something new and different and unique as well. Cool. So I haven't seen any questions come in yet. Oh, here's one. Oh, yeah, no worries. I hope it was good for you. Um, cool. But I'll let you guys go. And if you do have any questions, the team at All Travel or Creative Vacations will be able to help you. Um, oh, for sure. So thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.